Okay, here's some basic plans for what I call a bug out radio. Now, I've been kicking this around for a long time, exactly what I would do with it. I don't know if anybody else has ever done anything exactly like this. I've seen plans for other equipment. I'll get that in a minute. But you start with like a board, piece of, like maybe about 3/4 by about 4 feet or something, about a foot wide, just enough to mount this stuff to. You got two junk stereo speakers. Ones you can get these in local thrift stores. You can find old speakers like that fairly cheaply. Ones that are rated about 50 watts or something. Those are easy to find. You got a old AM FM radio. You got the power supply in the middle. You got a carrying handle. You got a CB radio over here. You got the antenna for the CB radio. Now, I'm gonna get to that in a minute here, but you got the antenna for the AM FM radio over here. Now the antenna, you'd want to have something you could just mount up vertical, but store horizontal when this thing is not in use. But okay, the antenna. Now I've made a few of these. Most of these, what I'll do, I'll take a piece of 20-foot PVC and wrap. There's two lengths of 180 inches for each. One for the hot side of the coax and then one for the ground side of the coax. But it's what I call a helical wound half-wave dipole antenna. Like I said, I've made a few of these, in 20 feet, and they seem to work pretty good. I'm going to make one maybe about 4 feet and just try it and just see how well it works. Sometime I'm going to put all together or some version of this, something close to this. But like I said, I call this a bug out radio with a CB radio and I use a CB radio and an AM FM. Now let me show you one. This is an old radio. This did still work. But if you notice, the buttons are missing and this little plastic piece is missing. But the last time I tried it, I haven't had this hooked up to the power in a couple of years, but I had this in my pickup and I was listening to Salger music. And Salger music is like, if you imagine American rock and roll with German words to it, that's basically what Salger is. But a friend of mine hated it. Instead of just flipping the button to turn it off, she just kept whacking at it until it quit. She actually eventually hit the button to turn it off. But I've got a bunch of these. I don't remember. I got one or two of these in wrecking yards. I don't remember if this is one of those, or if this is one I had in my pickup. Because I've got a bunch of these that some of them work, some of them don't. This one I'm pretty sure still works. This one's got a place to put a CD or disc with MP3 on it. I'm not sure what this still plays. Like I said, I've got 3 or 4 of these. Now I've got 4 CB radios that I know that work and I know where they are. I've got a whole pile of them that I've got somewhere that some work, some don't. I don't know. But this is a 40 channel. Single, upper and lower single sideband rig. I got this at West Tech for like $2. If you can see that. But anyway, it says $2, miscellaneous electronics. But the power cord was cut on there. So I pulled the little grommet off and pulled the wires out and hooked it up, and it worked. So I got a perfect, I've got two 40-channel sideband rigs. I've got some 23-channel sideband rigs. I got one I know works. I got my pickup. Now, what you can do, this is an old, I don't know if the disc player still works on there, because a lot of these, the radio will still work, but the laser burns out in the CD player. So, but I didn't try the CD player, but it takes like 6 C batteries. I need to plug it in before that gets damaged. But I did hook it up to a power supply with 9 volts DC, and the radio does work. But like I said, you could take like 2 18650s with a little single BMS board and then wire that, and then that would that would work. That would work for probably a couple hours until the batteries ran down on it. But you need to recharge them. I'll probably rig something like that up, because that's like super simple to do something like that. It doesn't require quite the building that one of these does. But like I said, in my pickup, what I currently have, I got this off Amazon. That's what they call a single DIN holder. That particular rectangular hole. That's why I got my pickup. But they make a radio it's got a nice LED display on there. You can play, like the later MPEG videos. That's what I've got on there. I've got those on a thumb drive. I just play those, and it's a double DIN display with a single DIN it'll fit in a single DIN hole. And you could easily mount something like that on here, if you wanted to spend a few extra bucks and have something like that in there. Now, guys will take those radios that have double the display, make a big plywood cabinet. I get the ones that'll put out maybe about 200, 400 watts, something like that. Build a nice power supply in there to pause. But this is more like to entertain a group or something, like if you're going to have a party or something. That's kind of more what that's intended for. But I just tossed that out there. So I've kicked this around a long time, and eventually sometime I'll build something, and then what I do, I'll show you what I build. But that's adaptable. You can take and and do almost anything, very, very similar to that. And nothing there is kind of written in stone. You could just power one AM, FM radio or one CB radio, whatever you want to do with that. You wouldn't need to put the speakers on there. If you didn't want to put the speakers, you could make that much more compact. But you need to have a little bit of space for the, for the CB antenna. Okay. Love you. Bye-bye.